Hey folks, we're just going to give everyone a minute here to log in and then we'll get started. And while we wait for everyone to hop on, if you'd like to participate in our poll, it'll just kind of help us out, give us a little insight on who's joining us. And also for NYOUG and viscosity, we are definitely interested to see who out there is interested in going back in person with sessions and hands-on labs like this. We used to do so many of them and now they're all just online. All right, let's get started. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're very excited to have you for this hands-on lab, a very special webcast, I think, for viscosity and NYOUG. We've not gotten to do one of these together yet, so we're super excited to have Jason Haynes from Oracle with us today. A couple reminders to all of you. If you're not a regular here at an NYOUG viscosity webinar, it is live, so we do hope you take advantage of the Q&A field. Those questions will be followed up by Jason and his colleague Greg, so they are here to help you guys out. Please try to keep your questions relevant to the hands-on lab. We're hoping that you're not taking advantage of this time for Apex office hours. But if you do need any other questions, I'm sure they'll share their contact information with you later. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. If you are in the New York area, you're going to hear from Coleman, one of the VPs at NYOUG. He'll tell you a little bit about New York Oracle User Group. I'll tell you a little bit about viscosity, and then we'll get started.
Thank you, Monica. So the New York Oracle Users Group was formed in 1984 for the exchange of ideas, assistance, and support among users of Oracle software products. Next slide. You can connect with us on X, Meetup, LinkedIn, Facebook, and of course, nyoug.org. This presentation, as well as the presentations from the webinars from the past 4 years, will be posted on our website as well as Viscosity's website. And I just want to mention one more thing. The upcoming webinars will be as follows. November 12th, we're going to have a webinar on Oracle, on Sybase, legacy Sybase to Oracle conversion. December 17th, we're going to have Oracle's True Cache. And then coming up November 6th, we're going to have actually going to be a live presentation. You're welcome to join in New York City. It's going to talk about VMware, and you can see that information on our email blast or on our website, nyoug.org. Thank you, Monica.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coleman. All right, if you're not familiar with viscosity, I'm going to make this short because I know you guys want to get to the good stuff. But my name is Monica. I'm the marketing director here at Viscosity. We are a full Oracle Stack consulting firm with core expertise in Oracle database, including RAC, Oracle Apex. We do perform near zero downtime migrations for our clients, a lot of performance tuning and high availability projects. And we also have decades of experience with infrastructure, including engineered systems. And lately, we've been preparing our customers for Oracle Database 23C or 23AI, and we also host workshops through orapub.com. So if you see anything, sorry, on these three tiers that speak to you or any pain points that you or your colleagues have, definitely reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you in any way I can. But otherwise, these are some of my phenomenal colleagues. Hopefully you've seen them at some of our user group presentations globally. Maybe you have some of their books or follow their blogs. But these are some of our Oracle ACEs that help out our community as well as our clients. And finally, we're going to have all of our webinars posted here. This webinar will be posted at NYOUG.org as well. But if you're interested in just seeing our full database of webinars that Viscosity has participated in, they are all posted, webinar recordings and slide decks at orapub.com. You can join as a free member here to see all of those, and you can also get extra perks as a paid tier member. I always recommend folks to ask for reimbursement from their employers as it is really good continued education on here. It is mostly at this time performance-based live training. So otherwise, I would definitely recommend Apex developers go there for recorded webinars. All right. And as always, you can check out events.viscosityna.com to see where we're going next. We'll actually be at the East Coast Oracle Conference, which I think Jason will talk about a little bit, but hopefully some of you guys are out there in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. Great conference. I think two of my colleagues will be out there speaking, Craig Shallhammer and Sean Scott. So hopefully you guys get out there and say hi. All right, I'm going to hand it back over to Coleman to kick off the show.
Thank you, Monica. I just wish to thank Jason and Greg for this series, for this webinar coming up today, which will talk about a very interesting topic to everybody who's participating. And I want to thank Viscosity for co-hosting the series of webinars with us for the past 4 years. Thank you again, everybody, and enjoy.
All right, ready for me to share? Let's go. You should be seeing my PowerPoint here, seeing my picture. Welcome, everyone. For the next 55 minutes or so, I'm going to be talking about Oracle Apex, and today's session is going to be about building an innovative Q&A interface that is powered by generative AI in Oracle Apex. So it's a lot of words, big mouthful, but the whole idea here is just kind of exploring the low-code and generative development everywhere Oracle database is. And if you're not that familiar with Apex to the extent of knowing that Apex is a no-cost feature of every Oracle database, you're going to learn a little bit more about it today. I am Jason Haynes. I'm coming to you from Tampa, Florida live. I am a senior principal product manager on the Apex team. And with me today is Greg Jaromilowski, and he's another Apex developer that's on the team. He's more about some of the core. I'm more just about the product management and talking to customers and giving presentations like this. And you'll see me at various events around the world, depending on where you go. And I say world because I'm not just a North American representative for Oracle Apex, but I represent also for Latin America and South America as well. In fact, I'm going to be at the Eco event there in Raleigh, North Carolina next week. That's Monday and Tuesday. And then in a couple weeks, I'm actually going to head down to South America for the Oracle Apex tour in Argentina, Paraguay, and Brazil, over in Brasilia. So it's going to be a really exciting time down there. So it's a lot of air miles, I guess, but it should be fun trying to bring all this wonderful information about Apex in person to all these different wonderful Apex developers. And some of them are aspiring young developers that have never used Apex before. So that's really where it gets really exciting. So for those that are on the call that are not totally familiar with Apex, just want to quickly shout out to the fact Apex is the world's most popular enterprise low-code application platform. If you have a LinkedIn profile and you do any kind of Apex work, if you don't have Apex in all uppercase, I'm probably going to find you and I'm going to message you and ask you to update it to be all uppercase. It's one of those big things because our brand is Apex in all uppercase. We are top of the food chain, Apex predator, if you will. We are the best of the best in what you can do with low code or in building apps in general that work on the internet, all based on the stack that Oracle offers with Oracle Database and so much more with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. The whole idea is to build apps 20 times faster with 100 times less code. It's not just a saying or a marketing ploy, really. We can prove it. And if you've been using Apex and you worked with other high code comparisons, you'll see why it is actually a true statement in more cases than not. And the phonetics you see there in the bottom, it's very popular in the community since about 2017 with a long A, although we used to be known as Application Express, and you'll see that often in Google results or other search results. Where it's not an abbreviation as Application Express. It is long A for Apex. And Apex is celebrating what is now known as the product for 20 years. Apex was first known as HTML-DB 1.5, and it was released in 2004. And it's only gotten better and better ever since. The whole idea of how Oracle Apex is powered by these low-code world-class features is exemplified and will be today more so about being able to facilitate the use of AI functionality or services in your Apex apps and even in your Apex development. So I'm going to be showing a video a little bit later on towards the end of the session where it demonstrates some more of the AI-assisted development, but that is not the focus of the call today. The focus of the call is really to brag about all these features you see in front of you on this slide. Since Apex 19.2 in 2019, that's when faceted search became a no-code feature. Native PDF printing in 20.1, the cards region 20.2, the maps region was a post-pandemic thing, and it became available in Apex 21.1. And you see all these other features that are highlighted as marquee features, and every one of them is represented now in what is the cumulative edition of Apex 24.1 that has all these features as no-code options to start. And the brilliance of what Apex is that you can just drag and drop them, configure them for a data source or a service, and you're ready to go. Your app is done. But you can also leverage functionality within these applications that you develop with some low code. So yeah, Apex is known as a low code platform as well, but it does not end there. Apex really is all about even being able to marry the functionality with any other third-party library, because at the end of the day, it's a web app. So if it can be functional in a web application on a web page in a web browser, Apex can help you do it, even if the feature is not part of core Apex or part of the out-of-the-box capabilities. But we're going to be talking about out-of-the-box capabilities that are available today. But just a quick little thing about me is this cartoon represents who I was in 2006. In a previous life, I was a Java and .NET developer for about 15 years, and I was working on a project, and a colleague introduced this thing called Oracle Application Express. It was 3.0 in 2006, and I was just blown away. The compilation of what we have in Apex today is the fact that all those different technologies that are in the cart as pictured are what you can do with Apex and only Apex. You don't need to be an expert in all those things to make these applications come to life using Oracle Apex. And that's why I love it. I've never looked back at my Java and .NET career. I've been using Apex ever since. So the quick math on that is factor about 18 years of me using Apex to deliver solutions for various use cases and customers alike, far earlier than before I came to Oracle. And I've been at Oracle now 6 years. I just celebrated my 6th anniversary a week or so ago, and I've been on the Apex team as a product manager for the last 3.5 years. So everything about Oracle Apex is available at apex.oracle.com, even the hands-on lab, even getting started. I'm going to draw your attention to a lot of this as I go. This is not going to be a step-by-step of the hands-on lab. We only had a couple people that mentioned that they would want to follow anyhow. So this is going to cater mostly to the majority that are interested in being shown what you can do with Apex, as it has to do with generative AI as a developer building an app that your end users can use. But at the very least, though, when you are ready to do your own self-paced exercise of the hands-on lab or workshop, you're going to want to start for free on apex.oracle.com. It's the quickest and easiest way. When you click on that button and you request a workspace from this particular instance, just know that this destination, apex.oracle.com, is hosting our customer evaluation instance of Apex. So it's already set up, already is capable of doing email. It's already capable of being leveraged for all our hands-on lab features. And all you have to do is fill in a quick form to request a workspace. No credit card needed. When you do this, you request a workspace and you're able to then click a button in that email and create that workspace, where the next step will be to create credentials for you to be the workspace administrator. So you would be in control of that workspace on this customer evaluation instance. From there, you'll be able to exercise all these hands-on labs and workshops and even kick the tires and experiment with many of the other features that we might not have hands-on labs for at this particular point. But just know, as a robust and mature product, there are a lot of hands-on labs that have been built over the years that are available on apex.oracle.com. So the other thing to also know is, if you want to learn more, you can jump right into building your first Apex app, which is essentially the scenario where you're building an application using spreadsheet data. But important to that is there's also training and certification options available on our website, completely for free. So above and beyond the labs and tutorials, you could get into the process of learning how to use Apex on our Foundations course or with our professional certifications course. Both are free. One is 4 hours, the other one's 13 plus hours. But I recommend that if you're going professional, jump right into the professional certification and work through it. It's completely free. The only thing that costs anything is when you go to Oracle University to take the actual certification test. And I did mine back in 2018. And I'll be honest, I didn't pass it with flying colors, even though I'd been using Apex for the better part of 12 years at that point. I barely passed, but I'm certified, right? So that's all that matters. So hopefully you can join me on the certified team. But the point is, you can learn at your own pace with the training and certifications there on our website or with the labs and tutorials. And today we're focusing on one in particular. It is the Build an Innovative Q&A Interface powered by Generative AI lab. It's built on top of the New York City high schools data. So it's only coincidental that today I'm joined with all of you from the New York Oracle users group. But one of our lead software development managers on the team, his name is Mark Seitz. He lives in New York City along with Greg. And in fact, there's a time when he was looking to research New York City high schools for his kids, right? And this is what basically gave birth to the idea of us doing a lot of our demos with New York City high school data. And the whole idea is you'll download a spreadsheet and then you'll walk through the actual lab to build out the functionality included in this particular solution. But there are others. We have other AI labs. We have document understanding. We have AI assisted development and product management as a lab. All three of those on the top are intermediates, but we also have building an AI powered image search, which is a little bit more advanced, and even just building a social media app from scratch, which is what this is part 2 of. So really, if you want to start from the very beginning, I think you're going to enjoy building a social media app first because it's like an Instagram type app, and then you add AI powered image search to it. And then maybe you're going to learn the workflow lab. It's a little bit longer. It's 2.5 hours. But the point is here, you could jump through any of these particular hands-on labs and never bother getting certified. Just start following all the steps in the hands-on lab or the workshop, and you'll actually end up with a working product that is something you built yourself. So that QR code there is just a shortcut to where you'll see on our website all those hands-on labs. So just a reminder to use the Q&A option in the Zoom here if you have any questions. Try to keep them focused on the content that we're developing or delivering today. But we're talking a little bit about the Apex AI strategy before we jump into it. And the whole idea here is we have the first and only low-code service on autonomous infrastructure in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, otherwise known as OCI. So even if you don't want to get a free workspace on apex.oracle.com, the other option that is there is to walk you through how to get involved with your own tenancy on OCI. And on top of that, with the Apex service or any of the other tenancy options, the common thread is they all have Oracle database, which means since Apex is a feature of all Oracle databases, with any Oracle database tenancy you have stood up, you're able to start using Apex. And that includes even multi-cloud. So if you've been paying attention to the news, you've heard about AWS, Google, and even Azure. Pretty much it doesn't matter where the cloud is. If you can stand up Oracle database, you have Apex available to you as a developer, and you have all those solutions you can build available to your organization or the public at large. But in addition to that, we offer AI assisted development using Gen AI. And out of the box with no code, you can configure your workspace in Apex to leverage OpenAI, Cohere, and even OCI Gen AI, and any number of others with a little bit of higher code. But out of the box, those 3 main service options are what you need to be aware of. And you have the ability to interact as a developer, and I'll show you this towards the end, with natural language to SQL. So this means you'll actually be able to ask human language sentences in a code editor environment, and then you get SQL statements that come back automatically that work and, well, should work anyway, that you can then use to leverage where you're going with your app development. It's just super cool. But what we're focusing on today are AI-powered apps. So in using this New York City schools fundamental, we're going to add a chatbot, which is a new feature in our latest release of Apex, where you're not responsible for the UI. You're not responsible as an Apex developer for wiring it up to the service. It's really no code, and it works tremendously well. And then you can go back and learn these other labs where you can explore other AI features as well. The common thread to all of this, though, is REST. So the Oracle AI and machine learning stack on OCI looks something like this. You got applications on the top. You have all these AI services. Most of the hands-on labs cover them all. Machine learning services. There are a lot of different live labs that are available that delve into all these different technologies as well. And they're all free, and you can learn them and be proficient in them within probably an hour or so. But the common thread is REST. And since 2018, when Apex 18.1 was released, that is when we made the product capable of having you as Apex developers configure any REST endpoint with no code. No code. Meaning, if you have a REST service and you have the API keys today and since 2018, you've been able to use Apex to configure just those endpoints, your credentials or API keys, and then start leveraging the purpose of those services in your apps with no code. That's tremendous because before 2018, you'd have to know your PL SQL. You'd have to know how to configure your database to reach out and communicate with those endpoints. There's a lot of heavy lifting that you may have had to then have a DBA involved with if it's your own organization's database. But these days, it's so much easier, and that's what we're going to actually cover here. So I'm going to go ahead and review some things in the Apex Workspace utilities from the perspective of my browser. So here I am on Edge browser. I'm on apex.oracle.com. A few things I pointed out was starting for free today. When you click on Start for Free today, this is where you see the free workspace on apex.oracle.com. So that's what I'd recommend. It's so much easier. No credit card required. But if you want to jump right into Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, you can go ahead and jump right in there and choose your tenancy for the purpose. Maybe even the Apex Always Free service is an option for you, or any of the Always Free tenancies that only include Oracle database options out of the box. And then you have $300 of US credits that are good for 30 days. And you can even leverage the AI services available there, which include OCI Gen AI. But the thing to know, since 2004, the birth of HTML-DB 1.5, which is what Apex used to be, you can have Apex on premises. So you literally can put Apex on your own bare metal server in your infrastructure, or you could even download the Apex virtual machine, where it comes with Oracle Database 23 AI on the free VirtualBox appliance. So if you want to play with the stack on your own machine, jump right here. Download this virtual machine, install VirtualBox, and you'll be able to use all the new features of Oracle Database 23 AI free, as well as the latest release of Apex 24.1, leveraging all the features that you want to play with on the labs. From here, I pointed out Learn, where you have building your first Apex app, training and certifications, and labs and tutorials. So what we're going to be talking about is ultimately building an innovative Q&A interface. However, I'm going to sign into my workspace now and show you a few things. So for those of you that are familiar with Apex, this is going to seem pretty normal. For those of you that are totally not familiar with Apex, this is going to be a bit overwhelming at first, because jumping into Apex behind the scenes from the builder perspective, there's a lot going on. So I'm signing into my workspace on apex.oracle.com. It's named PM_demo for product management_demo, and I'm logging in with my workspace credentials. If you've already requested your own workspace, you would be logging in with your own workspace with your own credentials. When I sign into this, I'm brought to the top level. I have various modules of Apex as the web developer would approach, from the app builder, SQL workshop, there's team development. And if you want to go behind the scenes and install some sampled applications that demonstrate various features and different capabilities in Apex, you can do that right from the gallery. But I'm going to speak in terms of first what's available in the workspace. So the idea is I'm in PM demo workspace. I have my own set of configurations for my workspace. And when I click on this, it brings me to a navigation where I see the top level workspace utilities. And one of them is generative AI. The thing to understand is Apex does not come with AI. You need to bring your own AI service to your Apex workspace. Every new workspace you create, you'll have to come here to this generative AI service and configure your AI. And then once that is done, you can then leverage the service of that AI feature in any of your applications. And what is actually painstakingly walked through in the workshop itself is the details of going to your service, getting it set up, getting the API key, coming back here and going to generative AI to create that AI service, which will also include creating the credentials required to use that service. Now, depending on the service you have or the service that you want to use with Apex, this may be a little bit more involved or not. And the OpenAI is just a third-party option for an AI service, and it is the easiest of the three that are supported out of the box. So to illustrate this, if I go to generative AI here, I've already got a few set up in my workspace, but what you'll see initially is a blank slate, and you'll have to hit create. When you hit create, this is where you choose your AI provider. and then you basically choose one of the 3 AI services that you want to configure your Apex workspace with. So OCI Generative AI service is the first option, OpenAI is another option, and Straight Cohere is another option. The actual hands-on lab will walk you through using OCI Generative AI service on an Oracle Cloud infrastructure tenancy. That can be done completely for free today if you want to follow those steps. But what I'm going to be doing for you today is sharing with you an OpenAI API key for you to be able to try and leverage this over the next several days. So considering today's Tuesday, that service key will work for the end of the week. I'm just providing it to you. It's for my own personal OpenAI service that I have. So please don't abuse me. But the point is that at least you'll be able to experiment with it without having to commit to your own service. But I do highly recommend you get involved with OCI and your own OCI tenancy to then leverage the features of OCI Gen AI. So they're just different services that you can configure. And when you do that, like in the case of OpenAI, you have different options to provide information with. One of the steps is creating a new credential, and depending on how you create a new credential, you'll need to pull in an API key from your service. What that looks like, and I can show you from the perspective of the actual workshop, is, let me come here 1 second. If I go back over to, I'm sorry, I misplaced my Chrome browser, which was already queued up. Here's what it looks like from Oracle Cloud. So when you're in Oracle Cloud infrastructure and you're logged into your tenancy, you'll see AI services as an option that is available, but you'll then, in configuring it, come to your profile and jump down to your profile to see what options exist for configuring Gen AI. The challenge I have here in being smooth with this is that I'm currently configured for the Ashburn region. And in the documentation for the workshop, we go into the detail explaining how only a few regions around the world support the OCI Gen AI feature, and Ashburn is not one of them. So I'm not able to quickly show you what that looks like, but I can show you from the perspective of the profile. This is me, and I can go to API keys. This is where you would configure an API key and then expose that information to for the purpose of configuring your fingerprint and your credentials and the various fields in that AI service for OCI Gen AI, or even the Cohere service available on Oracle Cloud. But OpenAI is a little bit easier. So in doing that, I can show you on openai.com, and they changed their website recently. So we loaded here. I always got to do fancy navigation. Let me go down here to developers. And then from developers, we can navigate to well, they're not making it easy on me here. All right, I'm going to skip this part. The point is they changed their website since I looked at it the other day. I wanted to share with you this API key. It's actually on one of the slides. I can put this in the chat, but if you want to jump ahead and start using the functionality of the hands-on lab, this is something you're going to be using as your API configuration. So let me make sure everybody gets this. That is my API key that I'm sharing with all of you on the call. And what that would look like from the perspective of Apex is I will go ahead and log out of this. I'm going to sign out of my workspace where I've already got others configured. And I'm going to log into one where I can show you what it looks like. All right. So here I am in that particular workspace. I have no apps created here. I'm going to go to Workspace Utilities. I don't have any AI services configured, but that's the first step. So I'm going to hit Create. I'm going to select my service as OpenAI. And in my case, I'm just going to call it Jason's AI and give it a static ID. And this is where I just paste my API key. It's super simple. When you do the OCI configuration, as they walk you through in the workshop, it is a little bit more involved, as I showed you from the cloud infrastructure, but we're not going to delve into that great detail. Now that this is done, I can hit Create, and I've created my AI service. Now, one of the things to point out is used by app builder is an option, and it defaults to no. So the features of creating an app using Gen AI or the features of the Apex AI Assistant, which I'll show you a little bit more later, are not available unless this is set to yes. So what I'm getting at, if I go back to App Builder and I hit Create App, there's nothing in here about creating an app with generative AI. So from the perspective of my workspace, if I go back to that one that I just configured, I can drill into that configuration, and used by App Builder is a switch. So when I change that, I hit Apply Changes. I can now go back to App Builder, and now when I hit Create App, you'll see the option now as create an app using generative AI. So again, that comes back to my statement earlier. Apex does not come with AI. It comes with AI support. So you have to do these steps the first time before you can start building out any of the labs using your AI service. And then once you have this enabled, you can then begin using the AI assistant. You have to go through the terms of service, and boom, you're ready to start using AI to build an app. But this is a brand new workspace. So the hint here is, or the tip is, I can't start using this AI assistant to intelligently build an app because it's a brand new workspace, which is a brand new schema, which means I have no database objects available for the AI service. So I have no tables that are going to, oh, actually, I take that back. I'd already installed an app, but I forgot to drop the tables. But generally, when you import an app, and let me go ahead and just drop those right now that I'm seeing it, you don't you start clean. You don't have them unless the app you're importing includes those objects. So what I meant to show you here was, here I am in my workspace. I have no tables. Therefore, the AI service can't intelligently help me using the AI Gen features or Gen AI features to build an app. So I have to supply some data first, create some tables, create a table model using Quick SQL perhaps. Then once you have that data model, then you can use the features of Gen AI to help you, build that app from scratch. But we're not going to focus on that today. So let me go ahead and open up apex.oracle.com really quick. I'm going to go back to the where the hands-on labs are, labs and tutorials, and I'm going to click on Build an Innovative Q&A Interface powered by Generative AI. What this does is it opens up the live lab where it goes into great detail about what the purpose of this workshop is, and this is what you can independently do. I just want to make it easy for you to use my API key. If you follow the steps so far, you have a workspace and you've configured your AI service with the Open AI key I gave you. That skips over the prerequisites, that skips over setting up your workspace on a service, but you do have these options that you can work through later if you wish. If you don't want to do any of this work at all, there is a shortcut on the download section. You can literally click here to download the completed application file. And in doing so, there are some things to be aware of. So this is why it's good that we're recording this, and just for you to be aware of, this lab is going to walk you through eventually creating OCI API keys, where you generate the API keys and you have to configure the credentials from start. But I'm not able to provide the OCI Gen AI keys to you for free. So that's why I've opted for OpenAI, and I just want to show you how you would do this to get a quick start. You could still walk through all the steps on your own and end up with an application that has the conversational inquiry using Gen AI and has the ability to use all these other features like visualizing schools on a map, but you could just jump right into the download section and make quick work of it. So when you click here to download, you end up with a file on your drive. So I'll open up my Explorer. I'm using Windows. So I've already downloaded this today, and I downloaded it a couple times. So here I will see this particular zip file. That is what I've just downloaded. So this is what we will import into Apex, but then reconfigure to use our AI service. So what that means is, from the perspective of Apex, I'm not going to create from scratch. I'm going to import that file I downloaded. So from App Builder, I have the ability to click import. And in clicking import, I can specify that file. And that file is the zip file here. So I can click on that and then hit next. And the 2 in parentheses means I've downloaded it more than once. So here I'm just going to go ahead and hit install application. And with any Apex app you build, you can export these apps and then import them at a later time. Hey, Karen, I see you got a question. Did you want to unmute and ask your question? No? Was that a mistake, Karen? All right. Well, the point is I'm installing this application from the export that's available in the lab, right? Which is shown here. And let me close this so it's not as confusing. But the trick is it already comes with credentials that aren't going to work for us. So when we hit next, the app's being installed. I'm going to install the supporting objects, which includes the table data. This is going to happen smoothly for me because it's a clean workspace and I can run the application right away. If I hit run application, this is what it looks like. I'm going to credential in with my credentials. This is HOL. And the app works, right? The whole idea of this app is to have New York City high schools. I can use the features of faceted search to slice and dice the data, show me schools that are within a certain distance. I can even look at the map. This is assuming that your home position is the Empire State Building, just for the demo. But the idea is I'm interacting with an Apex app that demonstrates all these really wonderful features. So this is a faceted search on the left. This is a cards region on the right. I can clear my filters. I could even just type in a search term and you're seeing how an Apex app works. But the purpose here of this demo is we have an ask a question button. I just imported this app. The problem is, although I can click this button and have the UI come up, and if I go to ask a question, it's basically saying, what would you like to know about New York City high schools? Show me a school or tell me about a school that offers science or math and science. And I'll just put that in my clipboard. The point being, I press enter and I get an error and it says authentication failed. So this is the key. I was at the workshop, I downloaded it, but it does walk you through the fact that you have to recreate credentials. And for us, it's super, super easy. So the way we want to do this is I'm back into the builder. I can go back to edit application. I can see that this is the various pages of my current app, but I want to go to the workspace utilities, all workspace utilities, and then I want to create my own generative AI service. Don't try to edit the one that's existing, just create one from scratch, as I did before. I've already done it to save us some time. But the point is I gave you the key, and this key in the chat should be something you can copy and paste right into creating the create credential space or step. The point is, though, here I'm in Apex. I'm going to edit this page 1. And this is showing the feature actually behind the scenes of what it looks like in Apex 24.1, because we now have the ability to bring up these UIs, these user interfaces, supporting our generative AI service with no code at all. And that is shown here in the breadcrumb bar where the ask button is placed, and it's based on a dynamic action. And the dynamic action, I'll rearrange this a bit, is on the true state where it opens AI Assistant. And this is all that gets configured by an Apex developer today. It's literally an action called Open AI Assistant. Don't be confused with the service I'm using for Open AI. This is just the feature itself, Open AI Assistant. It's out of the box here. It's a dynamic action. And in doing so, we choose our service. We create or supply a system prompt, which is basically something that is specific to the AI service that you're choosing to use. In this case, it sets up guardrails, it sets up the topic, and sets up some good information for the configuration of the service. And then we configure the welcome message. But as I mentioned, we just downloaded this app from the hands-on lab or the live lab, so it needs to be reconfigured. This OCI Gen AI service is not what we're going to work with on this particular call with this API key. We're going to choose the other one you've created. So that's why I wanted to show you, create your AI service first, then import the app, then come back and edit the app for your AI service. So I've already done this. I'm going to hit save and run. Made that one change to use the correct service. Let me go ahead and close this other tab. And in theory, I should be able to ask a question. Tell me about a school that offers math and actually I had it in my clipboard, didn't I? There we go. So now we should see that this Apex app in my workspace has just interacted with that AI service. And literally, I just configured the credentials from the app. If you were building the app from scratch and following the steps of the lab in the workshop, when you get down to the step where it's build a conversational query using generative AI, this is all about simply configuring the chat page. And the chat page ends up being something that's a blank page where you can choose for it to be a modal dialogue, and then you walk through all these different steps listed in the live lab. But it's so much easier for us just to edit this and show it working right away. It is simply a dynamic action. Are there any questions about how we've arrived at this particular point? Because you could theoretically all be using this AI service right now if you all followed that along. Did anybody follow along and get this working? Anyone? We have, let's see, Greg's got some questions, nothing outstanding that we need to address. Oh, I see that some people said they couldn't copy the one from the chart.
Yeah, it's fixed with the answer in the Q&A.
Okay, good. Thank you for helping. All right, so we've essentially arrived at a working application with the AI service. I can even ask other questions. In fact, if I close this dialog, this app has another button here on each of the cards and allows us to ask questions specific of that school. So for example, Bronx School of Law and Finance, when I click on this button here, I have these shortcuts and I can ask, what is the graduation rate? Ah, this is on a different page, page 3. So if I navigate to page 3, I then have to update this to make sure that it's using the correct service. And this one is here. And I did make that change. So not the OCI Gen AI service. We want to use the new service. We can see there's a system prompt defined here. Let me save that. Let me reload the page. And that was Bronx Law School of Finance. I click on the I. So now what is the graduation rate? And I should now see that it is interacting properly with respect to the school I chose and the AI service. So these are just two different approaches. And if you build the lab, walk through all the steps, you can have the exposure of building this as a modal dialogue and as well building it as a simple UI that opens with no code at all. All this functionality you see in this app is literally put together with all these components with no code necessary. Let's see what's going on here on the Q&A. This is not RAG functionality, correct, Robert? Not in this particular example. This is interacting with the service where that prompt is submitted as part of the REST request, and then it's an open internet query where it comes back with the answers. So the way the lab is set up, if you literally went to, that was really strange. If you really went back to the system prompt of the original page, let me go back to page 1. Go back to that dynamic action here. Here it is. So this prompt, and let me put this in a notepad so you can see it a bit better. It is available in the workshop itself. Oops, where is my notepad? I have too many windows open. There it is. So if I put that in here, this is what that is, the prompt. So the role is you are an expert in New York City high schools. The guardrails are defined as such, and these are the particular rules. The point is you could copy this guardrail information into OpenAI exactly, and it would behave the same way. But what we're doing is bringing it to this custom application. So that answers Rob's question. And that's done. And Jay, which OpenAI model are you using for this service? This is using, and I don't have to tell you, I can just show you. If I go back to the workspace configuration for the AI service, this is where you can specify which LLM to use. So in my case, the default was GPT-4o. So this is where you change that or specify. And this is why you can create as many of these services as you wish in your workspace. And then depending on the purpose, you might have one that's used for app builder. Maybe you have a different service or different model that's used for your particular needs. Back to the other question, though, I just wanted to point out, although we don't have a hands-on lab today that's about using RAG in Apex, we have one coming out soon. We're on a twice-year release cycle with Apex, and we just released 24.1 back in June. We're looking at 24.2 coming soon, and it's going to support RAG more natively, almost as declarative as you see it here, where it's all no code. So I hope that answers your question, Jay. All right, let's move on. All right, so that's a completed app from the hands-on lab. Again, faceted search is brought together with the different map functionality with AI, all in one of the the setups of doing this particular lab. So Jay, you're asking, you have to supply New York School data to OpenAI? No, it's an open internet search at that point. That's why this particular demo is so brilliant. It's so simple. If you want to do RAG or you want to embellish your prompts, use other data, or even you can do RAG today in Apex, but it's not a no code option. You have to do some more low code coding to make that happen. And there are other live labs out there that are demonstrating RAG. You're just going to have to delve into a little bit more code to bring it all together. Hope that answers that question. All right. So we've already seen behind the scenes. That's one thing I was going to reserve for later. The actual hands-on lab steps we've covered. If you want to exercise this lab without doing any of the work, I can give you a link. This is the actual lab itself. If you want to just grab that QR code, that's where all the steps are in there about getting your Apex workspace, setting up your OCI keys, or configuring your other keys that are used with your AI service, and then the start of building the lab step by step by step. Let's go ahead and show you that demonstration URL. If I go ahead and go to New York City Schools, here's that demo. So this particular one, I'll put this in the chat for you. You could just go ahead and click on this, and I'll give you the credentials. So if you just want to exercise the lab, the user is demo, the password is demo 2024. Demo 2024. And then in choosing those, you're going to be using this particular app that is already put in. And I hope I didn't type that wrong. Demo 2024. There we go. I must have fat fingered that. The point is here is an app that's already set up where we're not going to go behind the scenes, but you can exercise it and play with the LLM and charge me money to my account. It's okay. You could even use this for any of the other hands-on labs if you chose to today. Like if you wanted to try to use it for some of the other features that are out there in the hands-on labs, that OpenAI key will work that I've shared for the purpose of this session today. Any questions before we move past the lab itself? All right. So I mentioned Apex 24.1 came out this past June. We do have the functionality involving the Create App Assistant, which you have not seen in action yet. I'm going to show you this video here next where there is a demonstration that shows you how that works. The Apex AI system, which is natural language to SQL, that'll be demonstrated as well. And we just exercised the conversational AI dialogue that you can add to any of your apps now when you have an AI service configured as simply as a dynamic action. You're just opening that AI interface based on the prompt configuration with the service that is selected. That's great, but also know that Database 23 AI came out. It's available on the free. Well, you can get Database 23 AI available on the always free tier on Oracle Cloud. You can also download the 23 AI free release, and then you can exercise the AI vector search functionality, the native server-side JavaScript functionality, and even what's better than probably all that combined is the JSON relational duality views. But I mean, if you use all these features together in your apps, you're bringing powerful enterprise components together like never before. And some of the highlights in Apex 24.1 include dynamic data templating, enhanced workflow engine, and the working copy compare features that are in Apex 24.1. But granted, that's not what this session is about. It would take easily another hour or so just to give you a taste of what's available in 24.1. And then these things are not in 23 AI. You don't need 23 AI to leverage what we've demonstrated so far. It'll work on 19C. So Oracle Apex 24.1 requires a minimum of 19C database, but the features in 23 AI include vector search, native server-side JavaScript, and JSON relational duality views, which Apex 24.1 does support declaratively. It's only getting better and better. Hope that clears that up. But my point here is the segue into explaining how, if you're going to use the features of AI in the builder as a developer, how does it work to create an app with a Create App Assistant? How does it work to use the Apex AI Assistant? This slide is used to illustrate how. Because what happens is when your service is configured in your workspace and it is enabled for use by Builder, when you're working with the prompt functionality I'm about to demonstrate, the information about your database tables, that is the table names, the structure, the DDL, right? The name of the columns, the table definitions for the column names, all that goes with the prompt. So you could then, if you have a data model in your workspace, ask AI to help you build an app on that data model, and that's where it figures out what it can do and cannot do. Even your foreign keys are shared, so it knows how your tables are related. All that comes together very nicely as the metadata that is shared with the AI service. So none of your data is actually shared to the AI service by using these features. The Apex Assistant looks like this when your AI is configured. So the Apex Assistant shows up as a button in the code editor in the upper middle. But again, if you don't have an AI service configured in your workspace, you won't see this. And this is how the interaction will look. And I actually need to stop sharing and reshare because I want to be able to play the audio and video. Give me 1 second here. Resharing. So let's share with share sound. And what I'm going to play next is this video put together by one of our team members. And you should be seeing the beginnings of Quick SQL from SQL Workshop. This is where the shorthand syntax for building a data model is utilized and showing the diagramming features that are now available in the latest release of ORDS. In fact, Quick SQL is now a feature of ORDS and no longer a feature of Apex Core. But the point is, Steve talks about how you work with a data model and start using the features of Apex 24.1 that are AI-centric in terms of the support of your service. So here, this is only a couple minutes long. Let's go ahead and have a listen.
In Oracle Apex, we start with a data model describing the information our app will manage. Then, to let users find, visualize, and modify that data, we create pages in Page Designer. In every page, to configure what data each region should display or edit, we use the declarative SQL language developers have loved for 50 years. For example, on a revenue overview page, while defining a chart, we can just type in the SQL if we know it, but the Apex Assistant offers a productive new approach using natural language. To show the sum of the amount due for patient procedures in the preceding 24 months, group by month, we just literally type those words. Apex Assistant generates the SQL statement, and our chart's working immediately. On another page showing recent medical procedures, to let end users report on a list of patient names, procedure descriptions, total amount, and doctor names for patient procedures in the past 60 days with the most recent ones first, we just type in that thought. Apex Assistant knows how our tables are related, so it generates the...
You're saying the animation is very small. This video is full screen. Is anyone else experiencing that challenge? Suzanne's saying it's very small.
I think we're seeing both of your screens.
You're seeing what?
We're seeing like two different screens, or at least I am. I'm
It
seeing the
looks like
video
a
on the very small
presenter
left,
view.
and
Yeah.
Let me reshare again. See if I didn't make a mistake. That's possible. So share 3. Oh, yes, I screwed up. Sorry. Here, I'll just back it up a
Here
little
we
bit.
go. That looks
Sorry,
good.
guys. Here you go.
Then, to let users find, visualize, and modify that data, we create pages in Page Designer. In every page, to configure what data each region should display or edit, we use the declarative SQL language developers have loved for 50 years. For example, on a revenue overview page, while defining a chart, we can just type in the SQL if we know it, but the Apex Assistant offers a productive new approach using natural language. To show the sum of the amount due for patient procedures in the preceding 24 months, group by month, we just literally type those words. Apex Assistant generates the SQL statement, and our chart's working immediately. On another page showing recent medical procedures, to let end users report on a list of patient names, procedure descriptions, total amount, and doctor names for patient procedures in the past 60 days with the most recent ones first, we just type in that thought. Apex Assistant knows how our tables are related, so it generates the SQL with joins to get the job done. We roll out our report in record time. While working on our app, we can ask Apex Assistant for help on any questions or doubts we have about SQL, like...
So I just want to point out in Steve's recording here, before when he was in the code editor and using Apex Assistant, the default was not General Assistance, it was Query Builder. And in this particular case, he switched it to General Assistance.
What's the difference between a join and a left outer join? Like having a personal SQL coach and mentor, it explains the answer with concrete examples to help us learn. Apex Assistant is also available in SQL Workshop, so we can use it to iteratively refine our queries. We start with a simple select showing patient names and just tell it what else we want the query to retrieve. Add a count of medical procedures done by each patient. It updates the query and we run to see the new results. Add the cost of each patient's most expensive medical procedure in the last year, and only show the patients with at least one procedure, showing the most expensive ones first. This is really an amazing new way to be productive at building data-centric apps. If we write a query that encounters an error, we ask Apex Assistant to explain the error and help us fix it. Each interaction is a chance to learn as Apex Assistant helps us understand what went wrong and what to do instead. As Apex developers, using these same SQL skills, we can work with every kind of data imaginable. And no matter our skill level, the AI-powered Apex Assistant helps us write SQL, learn SQL, debug SQL, as well as write code using PL/SQL. But that's not all. While it can help us with any query we write, it can also kickstart our whole application creation process. In Oracle Apex, we can create an app with generative AI. We just explain the purpose of our solution in natural language, including the kinds of pages we want and any particular features we'd like the app to have, and the Apex Assistant proposes a set of pages and options that meet our needs. It's a conversation, so we can add additional options we think of like access control list-based security and the ability for users to leave feedback. If we think of additional pages required, we just ask. We can request a faceted search page and a dashboard we forgot to mention earlier. When done, click Create Application to see an overview of the app to be created, and click Create App again to finish. It gives us a great head start for adding additional features that only we know how to do. The new Apex Assistant is ready to turbocharge all of our enterprise app development. In Oracle Apex, we start with a data model describing.
There we go. All right. So I'll leave it just there. So that was just a quick demonstration of showing you how the service is able to be interacted with from the Apex perspective. And Robert's asking, how does the behavior of the AI assistant change? Hey, I'm just going to be honest. I had someone online that got mad at me because I did an LOL at the end of my statement, but AI hallucinates. It depends on the service, right? I can't tell you which one is better. You're going to have to exercise it for your own needs and see which one suits your needs best. And obviously, which one might cost less because it's all about tokens, processing, and at the end of the day, AI is not free, right? Although Apex is itself, but to use your AI, you still have to experiment with your particular service. So I can't comment on that right now due to time constraint. So I'm going to go ahead and dismiss that for now. Moving forward, I just want to point out the fact that we have a whole bunch of new gallery apps available. Some of them involve a lot of new functionality that's available in Apex or been made available over the last few years. So I want to just quickly point out some of that. And I'm going to do so from the perspective of my workspace. So I can jump right to gallery here. And if you're doing any mobile development at all, the actual footprint of a smaller size screen means, yes, we're using universal theme. Yes, universal theme is responsive, and most all the things that you use in universal theme in Apex will, responsively resize on the particular device, but there still are proper and respected best practices or design patterns when you're building a mobile application. And the Apex To Go app is a perfect example of that application. It looks more native. It looks almost indistinguishable from an actual native application, but it's all Apex. So I strongly encourage you to experiment with that. No AI required, of course. It's just one of those things that if you install it in your workspace, you can pick it apart, learn how it's put together, and replicate that for the use in your own developments. The Brookstrut sample application leverages our Apex data data generator. Sorry, I got confused by data model though. Data generator is a feature that's been in Apex for many releases now, but it's one of those things where, hey, you built an app, it works great, it's fast, your queries are great, but you've never really tested it with a lot of data. Well, if you utilize the functionality of data generator, or by extension, use the Brookstrut sample app, you can learn how your particular instance can run very well for thousands, if not millions of rows. So I strongly recommend you try to experiment with that and see how data generator can take your app development and your SQL tuning to the next level, because you want to make sure that your app scales to having a lot of data for the particular purpose. From there, also, I want to point out the new sample workflow and approvals and tasks application. If you've never seen this particular app at play, it's exciting because you can do full business process automation with an Apex, and we have a hands-on lab that's ready to go to illustrate all that functionality. So if you go back to our website and you go to Learn and Labs and Tutorials, that workshop or workflow lab right here is about 2.5 hours long. And I strongly encourage you that if you want to get involved in doing workflow or business process automation in Apex, to spend some time on this workflow lab and get familiar with how that works. So it just keeps getting better and better. We're really excited to have you as a part of this journey in Apex development. If you have any questions that are specific on this topic, please reach out to me. I'm at Jason Haynes on LinkedIn and X. You see my email address. Please feel free to reach out. We want you to be successful in using Apex. By extension, that does mean being successful with Database 23 AI, including all the features on OCI. But admittedly, I'm not an expert on all those OCI features either. So we're all part of this learning endeavor. But in terms of Apex and all these other features, if you have any questions, please send them to me. I'll reach out to those that might be more of a subject matter expert to get you the best answers possible. But don't forget also, we have our community forum. So just to give you eyes on that, if you go to one of our shortcuts, apexoracle.com/forum, we have a category on the community forum where you can post your new questions once you've signed in, or answer other people's questions and be that helpful hand helping people with their journey with Apex as well. But our forum also covers different forums for database, OCI, and so forth. But this is just for the Apex developer forum from the community perspective. And if you have any ideas about what you'd like to see in a future release of Apex, please visit the Apex Ideas app. I'm really excited about this particular app and bragging about it because as a product manager here at Oracle on the Apex team, this is my particular app that I put together that we all utilize together, and we learn from the community in terms of what ideas they're interested in. Some of them get voted on, some of them do get closed, but some of them make it to the product. And you can go and get more information and see which features have been delivered in Apex very quickly. And in Apex 24.1, you can see actually we've delivered 40 ideas that were submitted in the Ideas app in that product release. And if you look in the select list going back, there's been over 100 in just the last many releases. So you can see we're taking this very seriously, and we love to hear the feedback from the community about new ideas that you may have for the particular product. All right, so that brings us to the top of the hour. I can stick around for some extra questions or Q&A, but we can go ahead and stop the recording now if you like, Monica. I understand a lot of people may have to go now that's top of the hour. Let's have a little bit more interactivity. You're looking for some slides, Marcos? I'll send them to Viscosity, and she will then follow or send them out to you, I suppose. I assume that that's only possible if she has your email address, though, so I don't know if you're a user
I've
group
got them
member.
all. Yes, everyone will get a follow-up email from me and my team where you'll be able to see the recording and the slide deck at nyoug.org and
Okay.
also orapub.com. So no worries there. Just keep a eye on your inbox for more information. Last
All
call
right.
for questions too, and while you guys think about that, just reminders to visit nyoug.org and events.viscosityna.com to sign up for our upcoming webinars that Coleman shared with you earlier. We are building out the rest of our 2024 calendar of webinars, so just keep checking back. We're so thankful. Jason, this was an amazing hour with you, so thank you so much. I hope we can do another
Absolutely. I mean,
lab or session with you
I know it's
again.
a lot of information, and had we gone through step by step, I think the majority of you would want to work ahead anyway. So it's best that you now take the opportunity to grab onto that hands-on lab link and start following through the process. Get your own AI service set up and start building your Apex app.
Brilliant. And look,
All
you have
right.
tons of thank yous in the Q&A.
All right.
Wonderful.
Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
if everyone is good to go and there are no more questions, thank you guys so much for giving us your time today. We're very appreciative. I think I lost a bet with Jason, estimating how many people would come, and he pretty much hit it right on the nail. So I'm impressed. But anyways, thank you guys again. If you're in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, definitely check out East Coast Oracle Conference. Hopefully we'll see you guys out somewhere in person. At a conference near you, a tech day near you. Maybe we'll get some lunch and learns out there. Jason, we're really hoping to come back to Tampa to have a lunch and learn with you again.
Right? Where are you? Come on, let's get
Yes,
back
I know
there.
we had one this past year and it was great.
Yes, it
So
was.
we try to get out to Tampa at least once or twice a year.
All
So
right.
again, thank you, NYOUG, Coleman, Rob. We'll see you guys at the next one.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, take care. Everyone have a great day.
Bye, everybody. Thank you again.